Hi, I don't think we've been formally introduced. I'm Sydney, nice to meet you. And I'm currently in Leipzig, Germany, which is kind of Western. Never eat Eastern, it's kind of Eastern Germany. So like Germany, woo, it's like there-ish, approximately. And I was thinking, what do I want to make a video about? What have I been doing a lot in the city? And it kind of boils down to two things. The first is I've been walking over lots of bridges. Leipzig is a beautiful city, very lovely, with lots and lots of little streams and rivers and as such bridges, which I thought this is a wonderful idea. How fascinating. I ran the idea by a couple of friends and the feedback was not what I expected. They preferred the second idea, which is the other thing I've been doing almost exclusively, which is dating. But I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Dating is a spectrum. You've got some amazing dates, you have some less than amazing dates. So I don't want to go into like the nitty-gritty of rating these people. I'm not going to out anyone for being awkward on a first date, no shade, but I thought I'd give a little bit of insight into what I think the top 5 date ideas in Leipzig, and that's kind of a lame name, what I think the 5 best dates in Leipzig are, or you're in Leipzig and you want to go on a date, here's what to do, ta-da! I guess a little bit of background. It's been probably a year and a half since my last partner, and I am single and ready to mingle. Now in Boston, in case you're like, I wonder what kind of person Sydney is. This is the kind of person Sydney is. In Boston, I took every single person on the same date. Yes. On a Monday night, in my defense, I was in college, so I had the flexibility and the freedom. Yes, the last time I dated was when I was in college, so it's been a minute, but Monday night at 7 p.m., maybe a little early, maybe a little later, but around 7, I would be like, oh, I know this really lovely place, like we should meet at Knight's Move. It's this board game cafe in Brookline. Now I chose this place for a couple of reasons. One, it was approximately 4 T-stops from my apartment, meaning I had to walk less than 2 minutes. Sydney apartment, walk to the train, take train, exit train, get to Knight's Move, 15 minutes, tops, which is so unbelievably nice. 2, it sounds cool, like, let's go play board games. No one's gonna be like, oh, you just chose this because it's close to your apartment, you lazy bum. No. It's a objectively great and fun thing to do. You can't really go wrong, in my opinion, with an activity date. With an activity, you have so much freedom, so the date's going awkward, you don't have to rely on conversation, you can focus on the game. You have something to talk about, always the game. Also, I like to have a control. Not that I necessarily want to think of dating as some kind of scientific experiment, but it's really nice to have a baseline for a date. Like, is this date going well, or am I just doing something really cool? If you do the same thing, you can tell the date is going well. Plus, I love board games. So worst case scenario, the person I don't really vibe with, we're not getting along, I still got to play board games for a night. So, I still win. It's still a great time. While traveling, it's slightly harder to establish this routine because I'm always in a different spot and I never know the city. So it's hard for me to recommend somewhere to go. So I have to rely a lot on the people that I'm dating. So I've had to be a lot more free and just kind of asking them what they would recommend or what they think we should do. So without any further ado, thank you for bearing with me for that ridiculously long introduction. I want to get into the top 5 date places, date ideas, things that I think you should do. And a lot of these are universal. Like, you don't have to be in Leipzig to make it happen. That's just where I am. So it's going to be slightly more specific to that place. But yeah, let's dive into it. Also, these are in literally no order, just the order I thought of them. Do with that what you will. Number 1, we've got the let me show you the city / some of my favorite places date. So for example, I've had 3 dates like this here in Leipzig. The first one, we went to this national park right outside of Dresden. I'm gonna caveat this with, I recognize that this is not for everyone. I got into a stranger's car and let him drive me an hour and a half away from the city into the forest. And I get it. My mom was not thrilled. It's a little daring. It's like a high, this is an advanced date. So maybe you've already worked past the like coffee chit chat that we're gonna get to and you're ready to go all in. I'm also 5'11". I usually wear docs where I'm like 6'1". I feel like I give off a don't mess with me vibe. I went to a club not that long ago in Atlanta, Georgia with my little sister, and she kept getting hit on, which like obviously she's so cute, but no one hit on me, and I was like, but why? I'm adorable. And Sandy's like, well, you don't look the friendliest. You're a bit intimidating. It's like, okay, I see. And that's true. And I like it. I use it to my advantage. I don't want to be messed with. My resting face is like a, what you gonna do? So I am a little probably overconfident in my abilities to handle any situation. So in a hoodle, I got in this boy's car and we drove to the national park. So pro and con. Pro, we then did this like really lovely hike. He showed me this place he was really excited about and he really loved. We got to spend time in nature. Con is that this date, because you're spending so much time together, relies on there being some kind of connection. So I'm pretty good, or at least I try really hard to ensure the conversation flows and is smooth. I ask lots of questions, I'm engaging, but at the same time, you really need kind of a back and forth. So if maybe you're anxious about conversation on a first date, or you're not sure how well you and this person are going to vibe, you haven't really talked yet, I would probably err on the side of caution, not necessarily recommend this date. Maybe it's like a second or third date, you already know you really get on with this person, dive right in, but it's a little ambitious for date number 1. Next, we have same energy. I went to the monument, what is it called? Monument to the Battle of the Nations. Whoosh. Ta-da, so cute, little ticket. And also on this date, the boy had the audacity after I got this to be like, can you read it? I'm like, mate, I spoke English. She gave me an English one. Also, my German's not that bad. Maybe I could have read it. Not interested. If you're not gonna be nice to me, we're done. But anyhoodle, it was fun. You can climb all of the steps and it doesn't look that large here, but it is tall. And we did not climb all of the steps. We climbed about half of the steps and I was still very out of breath. So maybe ask your date exercise or fitness level before, not in a weird creepy way, before going on this, like, hey, how do you feel about walking up 100,000 stairs? But yeah, it wasn't bad. There's a really lovely view of the city at the top, water thing in the front. You can walk around, have a good time, talk, really lovely. Would definitely recommend one of these dates. You can literally just talk about what you're seeing. Like, there are a lot of stairs. What a lovely view. A mountain. Win. 100% win. Also, on the Show Me the City dates, you can get kind of insight into what this person prioritizes. So for example, I went on one the other day at night where we drove around, another get in a stranger's car date, but we drove around and we went here, we went to like the center of the city, he showed me where he worked, he showed me where he liked to hang out after work, the beautiful places that he enjoyed spending time. I think it'd be really cute to do this in like your hometown and be like, this is where I had my first kiss. This is where I don't know, what do kids do? Drank my first beer. Was it obvious that I was a nerd and didn't do those things in high school? Yes. 2, we have the walking plus dates, which I guess could just be a walking date, but generally for me it involves walking and getting a beverage of some sort. So on the first date I did of this sort, we got the ice cream. I got mango lassi and Johannisberry, which lovely. I love flavors that are like fruity and light. It was sunny and beautiful. We walked through the parks. Great time. 2, we got boba tea, equally great. I think that might be it. So yes, ice cream, bubble tea. You could also get like a coffee, get a smoothie. I usually get thirsty while walking, and so I kind of have the foresight to be like, let us grab a beverage before we do this so I will not be thirsty and kind of grumpy at the end. You could also just walk. There's lots of such like beautiful parks in Leipzig all around. I've been spending every day, starting the day with a walk. Amazing, such a good time, would definitely recommend. Next, we have the captive date. This is the dinner date or the coffee date. And despite what I have named it, I do generally like these dates. I wouldn't top tier them, but they're usually not bad. And maybe I should separate, because the coffee date is much lower stakes. So for example, if any point you're just not vibing, you can just done with that coffee and like, it was really nice meeting you, have a wonderful life, bye forever. Versus the dinner date's slightly harder to do that with, because you are eating dinner and you can't just like, I mean, you could, but it's more energy. I would recommend it slightly less. Yeah, both these dates good. Again, these are the dates where you really have to like be top tier conversationalist, because otherwise, I mean, you can only say so much about your food. Yeah, it tastes good. You really all in. Also, I feel like there's more of a commitment to time here. With a walking date at any point, you can just be like, look at the time, or I'm kind of tired, or I just never want to see you again because you suck. Well, on a dinner date, you're like, there's other people, and there's like an atmosphere, and you don't want to like, I don't know. I always get kind of in my head about it. And I feel like it's hard to know when to leave. Because like as soon as this is not as true as in the US. Because in the US you finish, you pay your check, you leave. But in Germany, you have to ask for your check. So a lot of it is just you're eating, and then you're drinking, and then you're talking, and then you're talking, and then you're talking. Then you're like, when is an appropriate time to be like, I'm done talking? So less clear. I like it slightly less. But like you do get food. You do have to pay for the food, but it's still food, which is my favorite thing in the world. So, not too shabby. Next, we have the cooking together dates. This is another like top tier, high intensity date because you are letting this human into your apartment, or you're going to this human's apartment. I only did this once. It was a great date. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's great. You cook together. You learn also how well you're going to do a task with this person. For example, me and my ex, we could not cook together because we were both so stubborn and felt that our way of cooking was the best way of cooking. So we would backseat cook the other person and then get annoyed with each other. So we would take turns cooking dinner, and it was lovely. But I mean, how cute and romantic is it, the idea of like kneading the dough together? I don't know, I think of like, those scenes in rom-coms where you've got like your hands around, and I know that's pottery, but it's similar. It's a good date. Next and last, we have what I'm gonna call the active dates. And I realized that you could put the hiking mountain date in here, and it probably would make more sense here, but I'm leaving it in the let me show you the city dates. What I think of when I think of the active date specifically is some kind of activity or place that is the point of the date. So like, for example, I would put the board game cafes in the active date. As well as here in Leipzig, what I did was go to the zoo, which was so much. I'm looking around because I want to show you my map. Because I have a map. But I went to the zoo, which was so much fun. Look at that. It's such a beautiful zoo. And I'm holding it upside down. It's such a beautiful zoo, and there's so much to see and do. And this was my favorite date that I went on here in Leipzig, and not only because I got to see so many cute animals. I adore the world, and I'm so fascinated by all that exists within it. So anytime I see like this amazing flora or fauna that you don't really get to see in your everyday life, even when I see birds that you see every day, I'm like, a bird, nature. But any hoodle, at the zoo, it's like that turned out to 1,000. Also, I got to touch a pig. And for those of you who know me well, you know that pigs are my favorite animal. So this date was also amazing because the person that I went on this date with was so just silly and fun. I feel like that's kind of the number one thing in any of these dates that you want, is to make sure the person you're with like is just fun. For example, at the zoo, like we'd seen a bunch of animals, we'd done a bunch of walk around, and in the middle there's this like really super large and impressive jungle gym play area, and I offhandedly, not even thinking about it, was like, I really wish I was a kid again so I could play on that. It looks so much fun. And he goes, we can play on that. Mind you, we are two adult humans, not small adult humans. And I'm like, no, obviously and he's like, come on, it'd be super fun. And so then he like goes, and I follow him, and we play on it, and it is super fun. And I felt very silly doing it, but like the best kind of silly. It's just, I don't know. It's nice to like not take yourself too seriously and to be on these dates where you're reminding yourself that like it's just a date. It's not life or death. If it doesn't work out, like you can just go on another one. There's a million people in the world. Like the one that you're looking for is also looking for you, you know? And I find that incredibly reassuring. Don't like adjust or change yourself. Be fully who you are and you'll have a good time. So yeah, I don't know if that was helpful, but a little bit of insight into how I've been spending my time. Hopefully I didn't out anyone, so I didn't include names, but I could have. I'm kidding. Anyway, nice to meet you. Have a good day. Bye.